So I have made another upgrade to my Blackmagic 6K rig that makes the rig more universal, and I can actually swap the camera and use most of the parts of the rig with another camera. So rig is almost the same except this part. So actually at the moment it's on a Sachtler Plus FSB head, so this is prepared for shooting from the tripod. But since this clamp is a kind of awkward position, I use the Allen wrench to open it. That also means that it's quite secure and your camera wouldn't drop. And this Allen key is part of this handle, so it's always on the rig. So I can take the rig out and shoot handheld, and then I can mount it back here. So that way I can take the whole rig with the external battery, with the MatteBox, monitor, and follow focus. But for example, if I want to have a smaller footprint and shoot something really quick and I don't need MatteBox, before I had to take the rig and I screw the base plate and all that stuff which is here, but now I can do it differently. So there is another of these small rig clamps here just below the camera, so I have to open it again using the Allen key. I put the Allen key back into the handle, and then I just unscrew this one screw in the MatteBox, and I can slide this back. But the thing is that I have to disconnect the power from the battery plate, and that way I get small handheld rig without the MatteBox. So I can, for example, attach the hood here, but generally it gets smaller. But the main con is there is no external power, so I can only shoot for like 20 minutes and then I have to swap the battery. So now I'm left with this empty base plate, follow focus, and the MatteBox, and that way I can attach another camera here and shoot with another camera. So I got Sony A7 IV. The caveat is you have to use the same brand and the same model of the Arca Swiss, because actually the Arca Swiss are not the same. They differ by like 0.5 millimeter in width, and it might be the problem for this clamp. So I have to put it like this, clamp it, and then as you can see the MatteBox is too high, so I have to adjust it. Another solution would be to use some kind of the razor plate like this one from the Webuild, but there are probably other different models. So with this I do not need to adjust the height, but actually this one is quite annoying to mount. So you mount it under the camera and then you put Arca Swiss plate onto it. So I prefer to adjust the MatteBox. To do it I have to unscrew this actually totally, and I got 3 holes here because this is modified. Originally there is only this bottom hole, but I got additional holes so I can adjust it more. Actually that should be in the reviewed second version of this, because that gives more flexibility how to mount it. And then I have to screw it back, and actually there is a gap and this hits into the rods. So the only thing I can make is just loosen this and push it, and that way I can screw in the MatteBox. Then I have to tighten the screws in the base plate, and then I have to tighten the last screw here. And if I got a manual lens here, I can put the follow focus, and then I can shoot with the A7 IV, and that way this rig is universal and I can mount any camera here. The only thing I'm missing at the moment is the cable to run from 7-volt outlet to USB-C, so I have to buy the proper cable. I'm not quite sure you can power this with 7.4 volts, which this outlet is. If not, then I have to change the plate for the newer model which got 5-volt USB-C. But I think it would work. So I have to double check this and then buy the proper cable. But the battery in A7 IV when you shoot 4K lasts for more than an hour, so it's not a big problem like in Blackmagic 6K when the battery lasts for 20 minutes. That way, if I got a cable, I can connect this to the power outlet using battery eliminator, but also I can connect this directly with the USB-C brick. So there are some other options to power this. So this is the case with the bigger lens. When I got a smaller lens, there is still this problem with the screws hitting the rods. So I cannot back this down more than 2 centimeters. Then I have to switch rods or use this razor plate to level up the camera, and then these screws do not hit the rods anymore. And for A6600, the case is that mount is almost at the bottom of the camera. So without this razor, it doesn't work. So for A6600, I have to mount this razor plate or any razor plate and level up the camera to be able to mount the MatteBox onto the lens. So actually, if you got proper height razor plate, you can live with only one hole in the MatteBox mount, or you can buy Smallrig baseplate, which is adjustable. So that way you can just with one screw adjust the height of the baseplate. But I chosen this one because this one got mounting holes for the battery plate. So for me, this one is better. But for any other camera, or if you use V-mount, or if you got more mounting points for the battery somewhere else, then you can use this base plate, which can change the height. And I would put the link in the description down below. So actually, with these two, it is really flexible rig. I don't have a cage for A7 IV yet, so I don't have a handle here. But when I do, I can also use this as a handheld rig with the MatteBox. And then if there is a cage, that would be a bit higher, so probably there won't be a need to put any additional plates between. And another really small change to the rig is that I screw in the small screw here, so that way this handle would never slip out, even if it is loose, because that screw would block it. So it's another safety measure for handheld shooting. So I wouldn't like to drop the camera and the lens and the MatteBox when I got the full rig on the handle. So it's like 5 seconds to unscrew it and put it on the handle, and it is done with the Allen screw, which is already there. So it's just another safety measure. So that's the quick update with the quick release plate. And in my opinion, this rig now is perfect, at least for me, for any of my cameras. So Blackmagic 6K, A7 IV, and A6600. I can swap them quite fast. Like I tried before, and it's like 30 seconds to swap if you're lucky with that screw. Sometimes it's hard to screw that back in, so that way you don't waste time on screwing and unscrewing stuff. It's just a lever here and 2 screws here to swap the camera on a base plate. And if you want to take the whole rig, it's just one lever and you're ready to go. So I'll put the links to all the elements of the rig in the description down below. And if you want to check detailed information about this rig, there is a previous video. I would put the link somewhere here and into the description down below also, so you can see in details what elements are here and what are the pros and cons of each element. There is a really tiny problem with this setup, which is not a deal breaker, but I'm not sure it is visible, but this plate on the Smallrig cage is not totally leveled, because one of the screws here is 5/8 or 3/8, another is bigger, like 5/8 and 3/8, I think. So I had to use the converter, and then it is not totally flush with this bigger hole. That's why it is not perfectly leveled. So when it is mounted, it is tilted a bit forward, but with the video head, you can just compensate with the head seeing the level marker on the screen. So it's not a big deal. For any other cameras, it's not a problem. It's only problem with this Smallrig half cage, because the mounting holes are 2 different sides. And actually it won't be a problem with the bigger plate like that, but with this one, it is a small problem. So I guess that's, in my opinion, this rig at the moment is perfect for me, so I don't see any reason to change it. And The only thing I would change with the Blackmagic setup, and actually it would affect all of my cameras, I would buy Laovan nanomorphs in the future, but that would be compatible with all of my bodies because I would buy EF mount version, so that would be compatible with Blackmagic 6K, and via MC11 would be compatible with both of my E-mount bodies, and this is also compatible with this MatteBox because the lenses are quite small. So now it's time to shoot with all of my cameras. Cheers!